On July 17, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH17 set off from Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport, bound for Kuala Lumpur, carrying 298 passengers and crew. The flight was scheduled for a routine journey, but ended in one of the most devastating and controversial aviation tragedies in recent history. Flying at an altitude of 33,000 feet, the aircraft was crossing over eastern Ukraine when it suddenly disappeared from radar. Within minutes, reports emerged that a plane had been shot down over Ukraine, and the wreckage of MH17 was scattered across miles of farmland, with burning debris and bodies found among the fields. Initial reactions pointed to a terrible accident, but it soon became clear that MH17 had been deliberately shot down by a surface-to-air missile. Eyewitness footage captured the smoldering wreckage and the horrifying aftermath. Pieces of the plane and personal belongings of passengers were strewn across fields in Ukraine's Donetsk region, an area controlled by pro-Russian separatists. The Buk missile, a sophisticated Russian-made weapon, was identified as the culprit behind the disaster. International investigators, led by the Dutch Safety Board, confirmed that MH17 was destroyed by a missile launched from territory controlled by separatist forces. The world was in shock, and the downing of the commercial plane instantly became the center of intense political and military debate. Investigations revealed that the Buk missile launcher had been moved across the border from Russia into Ukraine just before the attack and was quickly returned to Russia afterward. This conclusion pointed directly to the involvement of Russian-backed separatists. However, Russia consistently denied any involvement, casting blame on Ukraine for the disaster, claiming the missile could have been fired by Ukrainian forces. The tragedy sparked numerous rumors and conspiracy theories, many of which gained traction online and in certain media outlets. Some claimed that the plane had been mistaken for a military aircraft, while others speculated that it was deliberately shot down to escalate the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Despite overwhelming evidence from the Joint Investigation Team, EIJIT, Russian authorities and pro-Russian media sources attempted to spread misinformation, casting doubt on the official narrative. The crash of MH17 caused a global outcry. Families of the victims, primarily from the Netherlands, Malaysia, and Australia, demanded justice for the senseless loss of life. Governments around the world condemned the attack, and the event deepened the geopolitical divide between Russia and the West. Western nations imposed sanctions on Russia, further straining diplomatic relations. One of the most compelling aspects of the MH17 tragedy is the haunting footage that remains of the crash site. Video clips captured by local residents and news crews showed the burning wreckage with scattered passports, clothing, and pieces of the plane's fuselage. This footage is not only tragic, but serves as a visual reminder of the human cost of the conflict. In the aftermath of the disaster, 4 suspects, 3 Russians and 1 Ukrainian, were charged with murder by the Dutch-led investigation team. However, as of 2024, none of them have been arrested, and the search for full accountability continues. The families of the victims continue to push for justice, but the political complexity surrounding the incident has slowed any real progress. The downing of Flight MH17 remains not only a tragic aviation disaster, but also a symbol of the ongoing conflict in Ukraine and the fraught relations between Russia and Western nations. It was a moment in history that shook the world and reminded us of the devastating consequences of geopolitical conflicts on innocent civilians. To this day, the footage of the crash and the wreckage can be found online, immortalizing the heartbreak of that fateful day. The tragic loss of 298 lives serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace in regions torn apart by war. Despite ongoing efforts to bring those responsible to justice, the true accountability for MH17 still remains unresolved.